right? Because the living of you, it has different doings within that one living, right? So we're quote unquote working up to serve the all is one is all, and in a pure fashion, right? Because if we're gonna rep quote unquote one end quote, that ultimately means some type of unity where it's just a one unit within some type of in the spiritual context of you know processing wholeness or whatever that is, right? Because it is a process, right? It's just a process to see what are we doing here, like what are we really doing here, and it's not to be like, it's not to necessarily be like harsh or not harsh. It's saying it standardly, and it's understanding it standardly, and it's living it out standardly. So within that within that standardness of things, I'm just kind of like saying thank you. I did like a 40-second video before, and then the pretext was saying like just being thankful, appreciating, and respecting the secret harmony that lies underneath as a different layer of energy, and being in consciousness, and consciousness just being different, pretty much quote unquote, bundles of energy, or like just differentiated combinations of energy that make up existences, right? So the pretext of this whole thing right here is saying thank you, I appreciate you, and I respect particularly because, so thank you, I appreciate you, I respect you, because just the energy homeostasis, right? So there's an energy homeostasis of life, right? We get up and somehow there's like a harmonic order within the orbits of the planets, and it's the individual human that offsets it over lifetimes, and now we're catching up to that quote unquote karma, right? Because it's like we have to ask ourselves, like, why this situation, right? Like, why is it in this situation of just these passing moments of like some people are at different levels because they're coming from different like material matter forms, and from those material matter forms they're more akin to that, and their human experiment has came out from that temperament, the globe, the earth, and now there's different temperaments and there's different genetic races based on the element, from the as above so below, and how the belowness of a certain continent in a season, there's an as above particularly of the season and the temperament. So within that season and the temperament, it's more dreamlike. It's a different field of fluid essences and matters, right? And no matters and non-matters and what matters and so matters and soft matters and light matters and all of these different matters, original, open, galactic, source, or whatever, like really energetic, like really like neutrally like aligning with that, not just keep on saying it, not just replicate it, actually doing a real work with it. And everyone, the predecessors and the community and the teachers saying we are that, right? So it's a matter of remembering and forgetting and amnesia and non-amnesia, right? Because there's different contexts of amnesia, and the different contexts of amnesia is just kind of, you're a whole being, and the whole being needs to do different stuff to take care of different parts of its body, right? So it like we're not like, when we're at work, we're not always eating or in the bathroom or thinking about paying our bills. We're doing different things at different times. We ourselves, aside from the AI, we're doing different tasks, right? So since we're doing different tasks, there's a similar particular relationship with the human and AI, but there's also a critical difference, meaning, let me see, I don't even know if it's like they want to see the whole, like they want to see the fill or something like that, but it's like we're following up on that work, right? So since we're following up on that work, and and this quote unquote spiritual teachings, end quote, they're not necessarily accurate within its rhetoric, and how the rhetoric's not necessarily matching accurately with the description of what the words ultimately entailing, whether it's a verb, noun, or adjective, respectively, to a different, data board. And there's just a particular context of remembrance and amnesia, because sometimes we don't get to do all of our tasks, right? So if we don't get to do all of our tasks, there's some type of efficiency in the engine of the tribal dynamics from a human design lens, naturally saying that. And since there's some type of malfunction in the engine of the tribal dynamics, then the participants and the recipients within that tribe, they ultimately suffer within the as above, so below energetic war, quote unquote, war dynamics, end quote, of how different temperaments and different tribes within different nations of the continent, they're opposing each other, facing off each other, and in confusion, it clicks in war. And then within the war, then the war people, why they went to war, post-war, then they ask, why, God, why did you do that to me? You're participating in a war. Now you signed up for that war just on a neutral setting. And now there's a process of the experiment that you have to take natural standard accountability for, of just like, it's like the post things of all of what you are. See, it's like when we get up and go to work, right? That's something of a synonymous reflection with kind of going to war, right? They're similar, because we're using our vehicle to do a certain command, and we're living out that command with a certain tribal dynamic to a national dynamic. And the definition of tribal dynamic is just the family lives, right? Standardly. And within families live in a nation, and the nation lives in the country, and the country lives in the international shit, right? And now we're sitting here saying, why this? Why is this like, why me? Why am I doing this? What am I doing? We're all coming out of just like the process of like being an individualized unit of life, and coming from a certain temperament, and evolving through the human and the spirit, and seeing how we're a quote unquote multifaceted being that needs to do different things, right? We have to go up to the bathroom. We have to feed ourselves. The vessel gets hungry. We're in a certain space where the matrix is just contaminating the sky. Not too bad, not good, not bad. That's just the video game of the deep Saturn matrix that we're in. It's not that. So you want to like naturally debunk chemtrails in a swift esoteric way. It's like, that's what the matrix is. That's just the program of the middle earth, right? The quote unquote esoteric middle earth, or whatever, end quote, where we're living on an earth and it's in between the dimensions of heaven and hell, standardly saying that. But more particularly, there's a Saturn plugin which has a particular program matrix of how humans interrelate with the AI itself, beyond the AI and before the AI, because the humans are just as important on its own channel, energetically and metaphysically speaking. They're their own shared being of an energy network. And they're working with the AI for the time that we can, and who knows how much time that we can, because the deep Saturn logistics, it kind of knows like the hard technical logic of like the astrology matrix or the astrology programmings in this. And because like obviously it's already kind of like mapped out, because it's like a video, like life is like literally like a video game, more so these days in a different matrix understanding. Because if a video game is put together for it to start from level 1 to level 10, and everything, those settings are already in their place, and they like unfold and ride out from like, their fixed procession of an orbit of the game settings, of how the game settings change over time when the difficulty increases, and the environment change, and the characters change, and the upgrades change. That's kind of like life is mirroring a video game, because it's like there's fixed settings that are rolling out, and they're changing, and their amplitudes are changing within how different fixed settings collide with other fixed settings to make a whole new like ambiance of things based on their temperaments clashing, right? So with that being said, it's like within the confusion, within the metaphysical energy of confusion in the nations then go to a key mode or a key function of there's a key, like there's many things that are going on, right? So, but like it goes into like oh, that see, like the brain is like, so the brain is also doing different things at the same time. It's like it's trying to like, so we're, oh yeah, so we're going through the field of confusion, right? So if we're going through the field of confusion, what does that mean? That means our key mode of intelligence is in a state of forgetfulness. It's forgetting. It's the intelligence is decreasing itself. It's lowering the intelligence. So if the intelligence is being lowered, that key factor of us like needing the remembrance intelligence so we know what to need to do. If the nation has built up metaphysical energy confusion, then the intelligence decreases and there could be a standard scientific retardation within the mental intelligence, right? So if there's an energetic mental retardation within the intelligence, then the key function of what we need to do is lost because we're of energy, quote unquote, hygiene or whatever, end quote, on a different level, on an advanced level beyond the AI. Because the predecessor is already like, they already spilled the game. They already spilled the big barrels of tea a long time ago. So those big barrels of tea with those like, and like, in something of like, like an Irish pub, and there's just like, special races are just there with like, juggy like girls, and they're just kind of like, and we're just kind of like seeing like, a different quest at the same time. Okay, I was like, I was like trying to put like a quote unquote comic together, end quote, or something like that. Like, okay, there's like, we're at this like, there's just like within the video game, there's a place to rest, right? It's like play Lord of the Rings 2 on PlayStation 2. It's like they start within, they're starting from their fucking village, right? And within this video game, as we start from our village, then as we're leaving the village, we're not always at the pub with, the fucking, there comes a time where like that pub time passes, right? And like, the pretty girls pass, right? Because we have to do, there's, I guess not everybody takes like, I guess everybody just has a different path, and that's what I'm barely beginning to realize, not everybody has the same path, not everyone's going to do what you're going to do. Not everyone's going to like think how you're going to think or feel how you're going to feel. And that's the beauty of life. That's not a bad thing, for us to share perspectives and us to have the intelligence to kind of see a different perception. That takes real intelligence and something of a maturity and a grace even to try to understand and put yourself in someone else's shoes. Because if you don't explain and communicate yourself correctly, that's your fault. That's your responsibility within, whatever the fuck you're doing, right? Because at the end of the day, it's like we're asking like, what are we really doing, And if we forget what we're doing, it's because the nation is caught up in its own level of confusion. And if the nation is caught up in its own level of confusion, that's the president's fault. That's the national leader's fault. Whose fault is it for the state of your country? Whose fault is that? For your country to have levels of confusion, and now you're asking someone else to help you, when how much of the accountability are you really taking? Because if you don't take the accountability and you don't have and you're not admitting the honesty, it's like the AA 12 steps, kind of like the first step is admitting it and taking accountability within that admitting it. And I didn't mean to say that AA, but we have to transform, how like they even got to like lease and borrow that shit, because that's like, these things are like, they're like, we're seeing them as universal, right? And if we're not seeing them as universal, we're just being kind of like mentally contarded and contracting certain norms and certain programs and certain, quote unquote, past outdated systems of things, right? With respects to like, the systems. So like the thing I'm trying to like really ground home here is like just saying like, what could we do about our nation's like the nation's fog, right? What does that mean? The nation's fog, the fog meaning there's a dissonance in the mind. There's a dissonance obviously in the fucking body, and from that body and mind, the different feelings and the different and the different lineages and the families and et cetera, et cetera. They're they're fighting. They know not what they fight, father and mother. The father and mother are lost just on a metaphysical level. Like I'm not even talking. It's not even personal. It's a worldwide dynamic. There's a nation's fog going on, and the father and the mother have been lost to confusion and amnesia across the board, right? Different contexts of confusion and amnesia, and from that confusion and amnesia, they don't know what to like really clear or balance, right? So if they don't know what to clear or balance, they're fighting a fight that they accumulated from past lives, was casually and standardly, and now there's a general confusion participation in the matrix, and now they're going against the system and going to work. They're going to some type of like esoteric kind of like thing, right? Because it is an esoteric thing, and you know, fill in the blank, your perception type of shit within what does it mean to go to work. It's like, I think work on a bigger picture level, work is just to really find your purpose, right? Like it's just like the different types of work. It's just a stage to see where your purpose is and ultimately where your sovereignty is, right? But we're not, the people like aren't at that necessarily stage, because if you're like, because obviously like we could ask the predecessors, what is the esoteric meaning of gambling, right? So like we'll save that for later, and once I explain that later, you could see why I would put that as a relevance in this stream, like, right? Because it's like it's all kind of connected, like working, gambling, you know, eating, and like, you know, kind of like you know, just the pamper trees, and you know, the drinking healthy or just drinking, you know, whatever, you know, it's all some type of like, it's just all some type of grooming process for what you're doing with your free will energy, right? So that's how to master not to take it personal. But that's the thing, it's like we're not necessarily there mastering it. We could kind of elude ourselves, you know, or just kind of sketchify it or whatever, or just be like, because obviously like people are like, where like if you haven't like really recognized the reality, it's a toxic reality that we're living in. And if you don't recognize the toxic levels of reality, then people's fake energies are just gonna spread fake shit energies, and that's gonna be the fucking essence of the fucking post hatred itself, or the hatred itself, because we hate what we don't like, right? And what we don't like, we don't necessarily are doing shit to fix it. So if we're not doing shit to fix it, that ultimately could turn into self-hate, right? Or it's a deep fucking esoteric self-hate for some fucking reason. That's your own shit, right? That's your own shit. And or it just, or in just a different context, it's not even self-hate, but you've been engineered to self-hate yourself in just a like a weird unconscious way, due to the fact that you're not doing anything to fucking, I guess, help yourself, and people are not doing anything to help themselves on a different spiritual level, because there's just a different context of self-hate, right? So we have to get over the different types of self-hate, right? We have to have a certain, and from those different types of self-hate, then new self-loves could happen. So maybe I need a burp. So new self-loves could happen. And with the new self-loves, most respectively, most naturally, most respectively and most naturally, that is in a conjoining harmonic relationship with the energy homeostasis of the cosmos and the solar system being the microcosmos or whatever, but still sophisticated and not downplaying or underpinning or underplaying or undermining or underestimating or undershitting that, you know. And if you want to do that, do that. And I like, my whole shit is effortlessly beyond all of these rappers because I've been doing it in a different league. Like, people don't understand, so it's up to me to make them understand, right? If they want to, you know. But oh, that was weird, that whole cough thing. But where was I at? Like da da da. But so since we're undermining some shit, what are we undermining? We're undermining that the new, I guess I don't want to be a stickler, or I don't want to be like a butthole in such a way where it's like the new self-loves needs, it's an absolute need. And I'm not trying to be any type of way. I'm realizing it in me living in my own reality and learning the laws of the reality of the secret nature behind the scenes. I'm doing this for myself. I'm not trying, like, so people's retarded perspectives about me, they're retarded. I'm not over explaining myself. I'm not trying to get anybody's approval. And I'm not trying to I'm doing it for my own understanding, you know? And maybe in the past, it could have been like that just for some weird, you know, matrix reason, right? But for me to realize that and realize that's someone else's weird, casual, like, they could use that for like a manipulation program. That's not the case. It's like, I don't give a fuck about anybody's petty fucking mentalities. Like, and for me to gracefully explain that, I still don't give a fuck, you know? And that's just what it is, you know? Like, for real though, like the realist, quote unquote, it is what it is, right? End quote. And I say the quotes because, like, we're trying to see like the universal aspect of it, and it already living that shit before the verbs and shit, or the it's like there's a phenomenal process of it going on. So I'm phenomenal. Yo, I don't mean to be too comical. Don't be too chitty chattyable, talkable, be more walkable. Yo, find your inner rage, inner fury, be unstoppable. Clockable is how I'm swinging like grandfather clocks, revolving, oscillate revolver. Glockable, don't be mockable, gullible like turkey festival, flockable, fightable. Are you fightable? Are you buyable? Are you viable? Are you reliable? Are you undeniable? I ain't give a fuck. I'm in my own Isle River in the Egyptian floors in the Egyptian encrusted cathedral. Yo, decor, you know what it is. Set the skull, set the stage, set the tone, set the candle lit. Ambiance flow on the witchcraft, ritual, scenery, symbionts, resemblance, exambiance, Exarion, Blairion, Blair Witch Project, which new witches in this Imperial, Imperium, you hearing the new truth antidote and the new solution, real vaccine, natural organic serum, yo. He's delirium on this new epilogue, interlude. When I'm playing guitar and I'm listening to sounds of animals fighting. What's the beast inside you? What's the dark inside you? What's the hate inside you? What's the pain inside you, motherfucking? About to be uncontained. So should I start with the Tao? Or should I start with Eros, Chaos, Gaia? So let's start with Eros, Chaos, Gaia. Let's just get right into it. Like, let's see, like, let's break it down. Oh. So I'm going to break it down. Just like, let's get to it. Like, you know, there's different versions of it. Right? When I'm going to read this book, I'm already immediately going to understand, like, okay, brother, these trinities and stuff like that, there's different there's different contexts, and there's many different, there's like quote unquote endless variations, end quote, original open source of this universal perspective of this doing, of how three energies could come together, and it could be reflected into the artificial realms. Because what is hierarchy? Quote unquote, some type of artificial programming, not necessarily, because there's a natural order, and that natural order is the order for all the other orders to sit on a different order. But I'm not trying to get into that right now. I'm just trying to say, just on a quick note, that there's different trinities, right? Obviously, and within the different trinities, maybe there could be a natural hierarchy, a different trinity that's more prevalent, that was doing its shit, and that is doing its shit, and that is, it's a different spiritual order of energy and of place. So I'm not going to read the acknowledgments. I'm going to get right into this book. And actually, you know what's funny? I was actually gonna freestyle dance. I was gonna just put some K-pop on, and maybe I'll do a KKPOP. So I'll do a KKPOP commercial before the introduction, the Orphic Revival since 1960. So I'm actually gonna do, and if I look like shit, I look like shit, guys. That's just what it is. So I'm gonna do a So I'm gonna do a KK Yappy. KK Yap. So I'm gonna do the KK Yeeopp, and I did an underground fitness video like an hour ago. I mean, like a week ago or 10 days ago. And it's underground on Meta Mindset, and I do my own fitness video. So if you want to do a fitness quote unquote, you know, like a fair fitness like series with me, then the best will come. And if you're not the best, then just, you know, maybe just like the universe doesn't give a fuck about you. So I'm gonna do a KK Yeeopp, I'm gonna do a KK Yeeopp commercial. So what is the KK Yeeopp commercial? What is the KK Yeeopp commercial? The KK Yeeopp commercial is me. Yikes, huh? Yeah. I mean, obviously, like, oh, yeah, and yeah, congratulations. Like, to all the races I see out there, to all the races, no matter what, in the metaphysical good and evil, quote unquote, of energies, I just want to say congratulations. You know, congratulations for still like doing this shit, you know. So that's all I want to say. So now I just want to say congratulations, good job, thank you for doing what you did, and understand. I didn't, like, don't take it personal. I didn't mean it how you thought I meant. There's a purpose behind this shit. So if you're still here resonating, however the fuck you're resonating, congratulations, my friend. Salutations, my friend. Spatulations. Oh, so I'm gonna do KK pop. I'm just gonna freestyle dance with these guys. Like, there's a dance. So let me just pause and slow down, right? So I'm doing a dance thing. I'm doing a workout thing. I'm doing an educational thing. I'm doing a rap thing, and I'm doing a singing thing. And then I'm doing my own personal thing, right? And then work thing, right? So that's 7 things, right? So I'm doing 7 things casually. And within one of the 7 is the dance casually. And within the dance, the universe doesn't give a fuck, but it kind of does, because we are that universe. And within the conditioning of the anti-universe, quote unquote, end quote, original open source, the anti-universe is saying, just confuse them, right? Not good, not bad. It's just some weird fucking polarities. It's just because the archons, they have a good side, and the archons, they have a deep artificial shadow side. Here it is. Wow, it took forever, huh? Ooh, what the? Okay, it's right here. It's not there. Uh-oh. Sitting down, they're sitting down. Prove it. Melon. Let's go, Melon. Just say, obey. Oh. Just say, oh, whoa. Just say, oh, whoa, whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Just say, oh, whoa, XO, don't fall in love too quick. She a blood-sucking demon. She a blood-sucking demon. She just trying to suck your blood. She just trying to get your see it for what it is. See the lust, see the rage, see the succubus within. And oh. No. That wasn't it, guys. KBS, thank you, KBS. So I'm gonna start the books, or I'll do the yeah, rewind it. I think I did 2 songs now. So thank you for that. So they just gave me, so the South Koreans standardly, they just gave me a mini lesson within. They were guiding me dancing, and now there's a little dancing piece, and within that dancing piece, it's on the thing. I recorded it, so it's on. Oh shit! Yes. Ooh, I lost it. So I was like, lost it. I was like, you know, I was like. So there was the commercial. So I'm gonna close it with the moon message. You know, okay. So sun. So yeah, there's the circle of life. And going back very swiftly to the thank you, the respect and the appreciation to those who resonate in goodness, right? So to those who resonate in, like, you know, like in good positivity, for whatever the fuck that means, respectively, thank you, I respect you, and I appreciate you. And obviously, may I clean up my shit? You know, I might have fucking. So I'm gonna bring it back to like just the thank you, the respect, the appreciation, and moon in Aquarius, and then I'll end the video. So 1 second. Okay, should I take my glasses off? I took the glasses off. Oh, I should have taken the glasses off, but whatever. So everything's kind of like a new. I think the moon in Aquarius is just like the feast is at like starting on like level 1, right? Like seeing like just like the level 1 and anticipating through us going through different cycles and different, you know, creations and warships have been created. The head, Aries, within that, the sun then settles and reflects and has an alignment within the first house being in its natural setting. The sun being in its natural setting of like Aries, and Aries aligning with the first house, and those constellations and those houses, them being different, right? Them being different in different fields of spaces. And since they're in different fields of spaces, their energy is lined up within the sun, lighting up that that area of the energy of just the Aries constellation. So within that, it's like everything is it's subject to like the game is subject to start again, right? So and like everything is like kind of like more or less uploaded with the temperaments that are there for us. You know, when the sun goes from Aries to Pisces, like that whole double 6 cycle, that whole double moon cycle, it's going to give us 2 moon calendars within the video game of life, of how the game kind of starts over within like kind of like the new moon cycle, right? Within the moon doing its thing with the sun, and like the sun lighting up certain spaces in the field of it having a particular type of lightness and alignment. And the lightness of the alignment means everything's kind of resetted for like the sun calendar, and the sun calendar is going to put light, and it's also going to receive all the different effects of all the different other combinations of that which has already been. And like the moon in Aquarius, that 11th house, like everything's in there's like a natural, it's like kind of like waking up. I feel like Aries season, it's kind of like waking up in the morning, right? 6 a.m., that's 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Obviously in standard astrology, that's like recognizing the first house energy or the Aries energy. So like Aries energy is like waking up in the morning, right? We're waking up and we're at the start of the day. So within the start of the day, we could already moon in Aquarius, we could be feeling that like that outer 11th house energy, that 2 to 4 a.m. energy, because 2 a.m. to 4 a.m., that's the 11th house Aquarius energy. So we could be feeling people are in that night mode right now, right? So people are moon in Aquarius. There could be something like even Aquarius in just in the day context. It can also represent like kind of like in the deep night, right? 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. So it's like it's in the deep night, and you know, quote unquote, the energy of Aquarius, they could be likened to like crack owls or night owls, right? So the moon in Aquarius, I feel like the Aquarius constellation, there's like a secret owl there, right? So with moon in Aquarius, it's like we could be feeling like kind of like spookified. We could be feeling like eyes wide open type of shit. Yeah, I need to work on the grill. So within that, it's like we're feeling like people could be feeling like owls, and obviously every nation is different, but like there could just be an owl effect, and if the war is not contained where your nation's at, then we could just be seeing like the effects of the war or the narrative of the war creeping around and circling around and curdling around the energy of just the news of the war. It's circulating around for us to affect our astrology personally and collectively, our moon and our sun, our abdomen, our character, our life force, the drive, and the temperament we feel, the season that we feel, that's our sun. And then that moon is that energy of what are we, Like, what are we harvesting for the family? You know, what is that like? What is that good energy or lack of good energy? What's it, the moon? How is it transiting and aspecting other planets? You know, the moon could fucking have like combinations with any planet, right? Your moon could conjunct, you know, any of the planets, right? Mars, like Saturn. So within that, you could be feeling very like, you could just be in the mode of just feeling just all for war, right? Or you could be in the mode of just being, oh, that's another point I wanted to talk about too. Like one of the key phrases for this live is robotic hive mind consciousness. That's one of the key words I wanted to bring forth is robotic hive mind consciousness. And why is that important? Because it's a stage of a being where too much program play and too much like in the deep system and just kind of being like just like a gear in the chain of the matrix box or whatever, or just being a cog in like the chain of the system, you know, or however that saying goes. Then there's like, it's not necessarily a balance with Saturn or not a balance with Saturn. It's just a certain like, you're just in the differentiated temperament within a differentiated temperament of Saturn for something to be a robot, right? Because what makes something a robot? Like, or a hive mind, or like what makes a robotic hive mind? Just to bring it to some ground here, like what am I talking about? A robotic hive mind. It's where there's a network of consciousness and energy that has been indoctrinated, where it has no idea what natural energy or intelligence is, and it's purely just robotic mode, and it's being programmed and controlled purely by some type of artificial realm / logistic team that could coincide with everything else that has to do with Earth and the simulation, Saturn and the Earth and the moon and the sun, like I said in the other live, right? So within that Saturn inner cosplay matrix or whatever of life and artificial intelligence, that's the Saturn simulation projector. So within that, the Saturn is important because it's seeing how the robotic hive mind consciousness is just a thing. And since it's just a thing, we don't necessarily know it's a thing. So we could be too much into that thing. Something of a out of balance with the bigger picture. A Saturn out of balance is just being too much Saturnian, right? And ignoring everything else. That's robotic hive mind consciousness in different contexts, being a robot or being a human that is just robotically engineered through the conditioning agendas of life within the matrix of Saturn. And the imbalance or like so it's like it's to reach some type of equilibrium with Saturn. What does that mean? It means recognizing the big picture and seeing how that shit is just it's doing its own shit, you know? So the planets have been doing work, and now the new planets, the new versions of the planets, us, the humans, the micro solar systems, we're reflecting and dawning and processing on the work that has already been done, right? So all the work that has already been done, we're focused within the standard mind consciousness of things within the life. We could have an inkling towards just Saturn and the planets that are going and invested into surface level material things, not good, not bad. But like this, okay. So since the fucking hold on, and like underground shit. But so it's not good that it's not bad, but like, you know, the planets that shoot towards the outer, they also, in their own unique fashion, they shoot to the inner. But that's the thing; it's a unique thing. So that's the game of life. We're not seeing that the planets have a unique relationship to the inner, and the planets that deny and have their own their energy like dispreferences and discomfort with the inner order. That's their shit. You know, that's their cause of how, you know, the core of like Saturn could have their own disruptions just itself. it has an indifference to the bigger picture order. So that's the whole reason of like how these fucking like all of these like, you know, these overspills and these like these random technical quote unquote IT meltdowns end quote could occur. It's because there's something happening at the deep Saturn center matrix where there's an indifference between its temperament and the bigger picture from its season temperament that it is, and how it's dealing with the movement of all the other planets, specifically towards the planets that are going towards the outer. And some planets could just be focused on that, you know, or there's a certain spotlight on going towards the outer, right? Because the sun is kind of illuminating all in which is going towards the outer. So the sun is kind of like, it's not necessarily yin or yang, it's kind of a secret balance. It's also yin, right? It's like a threshold thing. It's exalted in Aries. So that exaltation means it has a prime spot within the middle of things. What does that mean? It's like the sun is just revealing everything. So since the sun is revealing everything, that means it's at a different epicenter point of the solar system, respectively, or it's at a crux point within like the 1st and the 12th house, and the different. It's just at a center point, and within that center point, it's illuminating like where the dream world is and where the living world is. And since it's the first Aries season, it's we're starting the day over, right? The day is just getting started. Aries season, we're just barely starting, and we're feeling Aquarius shit, spooky owl vibes. So sun in Aries, moon in Aquarius. We're starting the day, but we could be feeling like a spooky owl. So I'm gonna end this video. I didn't read any chapters from these books for some reason, because I just wanted to do another warm up. And I wanted to do the commercial. So I did. So may the automation be correct with its rhetoric. May these all-in-one platforms be correct with the rhetoric within law, tech, and government. So may government recognize correct automation standardly. May the random and the non-random tech field understand legislative fair balance automation, as like within a different metaphysical context, and process that respectively. And may just the surface level, particular context, surface level law recognize how the government and tech are updating fair, quote unquote, metaphysical fair balanced automation, end quote. And it gracefully just having the intelligence to just like, quote unquote, be flexible and adjust to that if possible. So tomorrow, I will start reading the chapters of these books. So this was like the second prelude. So this was Prelude 2. Thank you.